Hello there and welcome. This is Stefan Panaite. You're receiving this video because you've had a positive impact on my life in some way, and I would really like to thank you for that. It's amazing how a new concept and a decision can change your life. It really is. But before I get into this, I'd like to introduce myself. My friends call me Stefan. I'm 25 and I came from a small village from Romania. This is a really nice place, but people don't necessarily use their mental faculties, It's just not trendy to think positive. And being a visionary among them was really challenging. As an extrovert, I've always had a desire to grow. This power was always seeking expression through me, but I've never understood it until now. I've always had big dreams about how I wanted to live my life, and thus very few people considered me normal. Most of them considered me an unrealistic dreamer. I remember whenever I said something, they were like, "Oh, come on, man, you're always dreaming, you're living in pink clouds, wake up and be realistic." If you do have big dreams, you might know exactly what I mean. So, in the next few minutes, I'd like to share my story of why, how I changed my life, who I became, and what I intend to give. But before I really get into this, I'd like to share one more thing that really changed the way I feel about my dreams. It is a quote from Wallace D. Wattles, and it says that your faith becomes invincible if you fix upon your consciousness the fact that the desire you feel for the possession of riches is one with the desire of supreme power for more complete expression. Now, how deep is that? But now, let's go back and start with 2007. I was 19, and outside of school I had dance. I showed up a few times a week to learn the basics of different dances, and soon the movement became my passion. Looking back, it's not only the excitement of dance in itself, it is the people who choose to dance. Dance camps are teams of happy people coming together and sharing themselves through their art and movement. There is a freedom among them. These times when we would all meet and talk and let ourselves be, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to spend my life dancing and meeting these people and dancing with them. However, this was not a practical choice, and so I was forced to rethink my life in regards to practicality, expectations, and an obscure future that apparently needed saving. I made some influence decisions. The fire department in the city was having tryouts, so my brother and I went, although I had no intention of actually getting in. 4 days before the field test, I fell off a log during practice and I fractured my elbow. Days before that, I had been accepted into a dance academy as part of a group, and I got a glimpse of what it would be like to dance for a living, teaching, going on tours, and living through the movement. But now my father accused me of fracturing my elbow on purpose to fail the fire test, so I can waste my life doing dance moves. This woke up the anger. It roared up inside me and made all pain and all disappointment faint and far away. All I felt was the anger and the will to prove him wrong. So with a fractured elbow, I've got into the firefighting tryouts and did my best. Driven by anger, I found strength and drove it into the wrong direction. Needless to say, I got in, and in a week, I was not a dancer, I was a firefighter, and now they would be happy and leave me alone. But they didn't leave me alone. To progress further as a firefighter, to become a lieutenant, I was told that I needed a law degree. And not knowing what I wanted anymore, we followed my brother's dream of becoming a lawyer. I figured at least I was doing something, going in a direction even if it was not my direction. And thus, we enrolled into Visitation Law School. If passion is fuel, then the lack of passion is like trying to go forward with an empty tank. I suffered through law school on empty. I had no passion for the information I had to stuff inside my head, and during this time I was also a firefighter. At first I resented it. All I wanted to do was to dance. But after a few months I realized that I was helping people. We were making an impact on their lives, in some cases saving them, and thus I made peace with my fourth choice and I actually started to like my job. At first I liked my colleagues too, but after a while I started to realize their motives. They were not firefighters to help people, not at all. It was a governmental job, meaning that we got good pay, work only every 4 days and had benefits. Of course, I wasn't complaining about any of these factors, but when I realized that the people surrounding me didn't give a shit about what they were contributing to their community, not even a little bit, something inside of me snapped. It was around this time I first saw The Secret. Wow, it hit a chord with me. I loved the idea that I could still make my life into anything I wanted, that I still had the control, even though I couldn't see it at that time. All I wanted to do was to travel and to be free. I felt like I knew it. Then I shared the movie with my colleagues, telling them that I was right. Of course, they started laughing at me, saying that it's a mystification, come on man, wake up, be realistic. However, I was slowly dragged back into my current situation. There was no instantaneous change, no magic overnight, and the people around me started to pull me back into the reality we all shared. Yet, at work, while we were all hanging around in a common area, I started to feel a detachment from the rest of the men. I can't tell the moment it happened, but I withdraw from the pranking, the monotone complaints, and the exhibition of masculinity. It didn't interest me anymore. Instead, I started watching videos and reading and filling my brain with anything I get my hands on. Then, during the summer of 2011, right after I had finally finished university, thank God, Bora, a girl that I always wanted but could never have because of the distance between us, was moving to Europe to teach English. She was moving to her grandmother's house for half a year, the same village I came from. She was moving back to me. When I saw her, it was like no time had passed. Almost instantly we were back in love. However, I doubt that we had ever left. So as we started to build a life together, everything small and unimportant slipped away. This was the first time we dared to dream of a life together. Then Bora got a job in Milan. She left in September for an 8-month internship, but it was okay. We were on the same continent and this was enough for us. Thanks to cheap flights, we visited each other almost every month, basking in each other for a weekend, sometimes a week at a time. And during one of my visits to Milan, we were at my uncle's house and the topic of The Secret came up. So we watched it again, but this time it took firm roots and I refused to let it slip away. I started to read about these laws. I absorbed Silva and Ramta. I read articles and watched movies and started to apply these ideas about life to my own. In the spring, I found Grave, an insurance company looking to hire a financial advisor. I knew nothing about money, nothing about the concept of insurance, nothing at all. But they offered to teach me and I figured that when I wasn't fighting fires, I might as well learn something useful. I learned more than what I expected. I fell in love with insurance. It lit a fire in me to want to educate others, so I would spend hours after the office was closed with the director of the company, by this time a close friend, learning about all the aspects of money and people. I got to help others in a completely different way and finally, I felt like I was going down on my own path. It was around this time I went to see a psychologist. It wasn't because of any problems I wanted to solve or any hidden desires I wanted to bring to the forefront. It was just because I had an interest in psychology, about people in general. This way I figured I could learn firsthand. But then she made a comment during one of our sessions. I told her that when I was doing mundane tasks, I would drift off into daydreams where I was at the seaside with the love of my life. I have always done this. It was something natural for me, but now my psychologist said that I was leading a double life or something along these lines. My first reaction was anger, then the second was consciousness. I was sure that what I was doing was good and I wanted to prove it to her, so I started paying more attention to my thoughts. Anyway, one day during an English class I was taking, we learned about the island of Bali. Wow, it sounded like paradise. All I wanted to do was to be there. A few days later, by coincidence, Bora applied for a job there. The idea of eternal summer really filled my thoughts. I started to see the world through that lens. A lot of strange little signs strengthened our belief. For example, during a short trip to Budapest, we were staying next to restaurant Bali. So we went and had dinner there. Then, in a few weeks, Bora got the email. She was hired in December and we were off at the beginning of January. Quitting the fire brigade was my first conscious decision. Even if I didn't have a complete set of facts to operate with, after 5 years of firefighting and being surrounded by dead people with no dreams and no enthusiasm, I managed to stay alive, quit and move to Bali with my girlfriend. We've started the magic on a small dining room table in Romania and finished it by our pool in Bali as we listened to the waterfall. Bali was something I always dreamed of. We had 6 months of fulfillment and happiness, 6 months of seeking and gaining more awareness. I had written a song a few years before. It was about how I wanted my life to be. It talked about sandy beaches and having the love of my life with me. It talked about the type of person I was going to be and the people who I wanted to be surrounded by. One morning in Bali, I found the lyrics. Everything I had asked for had come true. It was such an awakening experience. But it really brought me closer to the source, and it also helped me to figure out what I really want to do with my life. I know that I want to spend my life on this earth by helping people optimize their lives so they can live abundantly. So I decided that the best way to do so is to become a life coach. And I also decided that I want to be coached by Bob Proctor. However, after making these decisions, I froze. I got scared and my mind started to pull me down with the usual thoughts like, what do you want? Are you insane? That's too big for a goal. Come on, set a smaller one. You don't have the money. You're not good enough. Be realistic. Then I somehow heard Bob saying to set a goal to achieve something that is so big and so exhilarating that it excites you and it scares you at the same time. So I choose to believe that I could do it anyway. One of the results of this choice is a project I named INIS. It was conceived from Bob's teachings and my desire to help people. One morning when I was doing my gratitude list, I noticed some popsicle sticks on the table and something pushed me to continue to write my blessings on those instead. And I somehow turned them into a nice candle holder. I felt incredible while I was doing it, and when I finished I wanted to share that feeling with the world. However, I knew making this light from scratch would be time consuming, so I designed a ready-made frame where the sides are detachable. Then the idea grew from there. At that time, INIS consisted in a visual reminder based on the idea that we become what we think about most of the time. I've created the INIS light to remind people to think what they want, as well as Wallace says to think truth regardless of appearances. INIS light is a customizable notebook and a light fixture in one. The wooden frame of the lamp holds up a metal strip onto which paper with magnetic backing attaches. Onto this paper you write your desires, goals, affirmations, blessings, or even quotes that you love. And once you attach it to the frame, your idea has become illuminated. The goal of INIS notebook lamp is to combine the power of gratitude, the practice of habit cultivation, into a glowing notebook to help with visualization. Although my primary intention with INIS is to help people change their paradigm, I do have a second intention, which is connected to my second goal. By selling this product and helping people rewrite their lives, I want to make enough to be able to be coached by Bob Proctor so I can expand and help even more. A few days later, I exchanged The Magic with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Wow, I was amazed. Those information really strengthened my belief that I can make my life into anything I wanted. So one morning, talking about our goals, my girlfriend and I decided that instead of going back to Bali, we will go to Canada so I can get in touch with Bob Proctor and share my idea with him. Again, Canada was a place I always dreamed of visiting. Toronto was the first big city I'd ever been to. I stared up the skyscrapers and felt nothing but gratitude. And while I was there, Katie, Bora's mom, gave me The Science of Getting Rich with Michael Beckwith, Bob Proctor and Jack Canfield. I started to study day in and day out. Then I watched the Born Rich seminar from Bob Proctor on YouTube. Such an amazing material. I absolutely love it. I found The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I started reading Tony Robbins and Wayne Dyer. Each book and each video was a journey into a new field of understanding. Thanks to the urging of a friend, Niku, on the 13th of January 2014, I wrote Bob a message on Facebook. The next day, I got an answer from the social media director saying that Bob would like to have a phone meeting with me. Wow! I can't begin to express how happy and grateful I felt. I've never been so close to that dream before. It was the 2nd of March when I spoke to Bob on the phone. It was an honor talking to this man. We had a great conversation. I shared my idea of the INIS notebook lamp and he really liked it. It was one of the best moments of my life. We talked for almost an hour and after the call I was exhausted. I was dancing and jumping all around. It's a small step, I know, but it's a step into the right direction. I'm home now and one of the first things I've done was to call my friends and share my vision with them, which is our mission now. Guys, thank you all for being so awesome. Our mission is to improve the quality of lives globally by empowering and helping individuals to live their highest vision in a context of love and joy through products and services that harmonize people with the natural laws of the universe, with partners and collaborators who share our belief in joyful productivity, lifelong learning and limitless prosperity in order to create a better world together. We honestly believe that people can change their lives through INIS. INIS comes from the Latin word gratitudinis, which is gratitude. and USU stands for the United Souls of the Universe. We are an army of soul warriors committed to being the change in the world. We want to create a place where we can inspire and help each other to connect to our highest self. Whether online or in person, the goal is to optimize our lives as a collective and as individuals, to empower each other and thus create more abundance for ourselves, our family, our friends, the community and the world. We want to do this by providing needed resources in conjunction with an expanded way of thinking, thus combining real-world solutions and spiritual growth in one place. So join us, reply "I'm in" to this email if you want to be a part of INIS, and we will send you the details. Share your finest skills and talents in a global collaboration for a more creative and abundant world. This is Stefan Panaite, and thank you.